Welcome to the Road to the Ryder Cup, hosted by Dr. Jeff Poplarski and my dad, PGA golf professional Frank Darby. Let's go USA!
Hello again, everybody, and welcome to the Road to the Ryder Cup. My name is Frank Darby, and I'm along here with my co-host, Dr. Jeff Poplarski. So, Jeff, say a few of your inspiring words and give us the amount of days and time to the opening shot at the Ryder Cup.
Yeah, opening shot is 132 days. We have the countdown clock behind us. We use that to our advantage. It's actually right to the second. I always look at that and calibrate that every time before the show. But I wanted to give you some updates at Bethpage. We all know that I'm there on the ground, being the golf performance director at Bethpage. But a few things. Number one, the Department of Motor Vehicles came up with a announcement the other day that they're making license plates with the Ryder Cup logo and Bethpage on the bottom of the license plate, so vanity plates, and you could buy them. And I'm hearing that the sales are actually going pretty brisk. The other thing is Golf Channel has been there hanging out right around hole number 18. I know they were there this Tuesday, and as the people were coming off 18, they were doing a lot of interviews. Some of the questions were, what does Bethpage Black mean to you? If you had maybe one or two words to describe Bethpage Black, they were asking that question to a lot of people. So there was some excitement on hole number 18 on Tuesday. This week, 4,300 volunteers are being scheduled with 25 committees. So the committee chairmen are doing the scheduling, and then by mid-June, the 4,300 volunteers will know exactly the dates that they're working. And that's kind of an update from Bethpage. Update with the Tunnel to Towers. They did have the 2025 Perfect 33 Foundation Charity Golf Classic supporting the Tunnel to Towers at Trump National at Bedminster. David Wells, ex-New York Yankee world champion, was the host of that event. And we do have the stair climb, which is going to be on Sunday, June 1st in New York, One World Trade Center, 6 steps, running or walking up One World Trade Center. The good news is that event is actually sold out. You can go on t2t.org. There is a waiting list for that event, but that's just some updates from our sponsor, Tunnel to Towers. Back to you, Frank.
You know, Jeff, that's pretty interesting with the just the coordination of 4,300 volunteers. I can't keep an eye on Nancy in Charlotte. How do you keep an eye on 4,300 people? But, pretty interesting. But, hey, listen, we're fortunate to have a really good friend of mine on the show here as our guest today. We've got Mr. Style, Marty Hackel. Marty and I do a radio show up here in Connecticut called Connecticut Flagstick. We have a lot of fun with it. We've got a whole lot of topics that we always talk about. But today we're going to be, kind of focusing a little bit on clothing, Marty's background in the fashion, world, and as the fashion director for Golf Digest. So, Marty Hackel, welcome to the Road to the Ryder Cup.
Pleasure to be with both of you this morning. And by the way, Dr. Jeff, you're looking splendid.
I did put some time into it last night. I said, we have a fashion designer coming in. I got to wear a suit. So, and I didn't tell Darby I was doing it. So I kind of tricked him up a little bit.
Well, let me ask you a question, Marty. There's got to be something that you can critique on Jeff, because all you ever do is critique and kind of give me a hard time. I understand. So come on, give something to Dr. Jeff
I think we should call makeup in. We got a little bit of your forehead, Doc.
Okay.
Well, hey, listen. All right, good start there, Marty. But listen, I think it's like I said, I've known Marty for a long time, and we have as much fun as we can. And Marty is just a rabid golfer right now, so we hit golf balls a lot up here in the Fairfield area, and he's really into it as well. But I just think some of Marty's quotes. I'm just going to give you one of them. He's known for dressing the world's most celebrated professional golfers. So, Marty, give us a little background about maybe, how you started in this, getting to where you were with Golf
Well,
Digest.
I'm an old guy, so I've had a little bit of experience. started out in retail working for Dayton's in Minneapolis, and then I went on to work for a long time at Neiman Marcus in Dallas, Texas. And then I jumped to the other side of the equation, if you will, and ran a company called Alexander Julian. And we had a very well-known collection called Colors by Alexander Julian. And then in the late 90s, I started advising brands who wanted to get into the golf industry. And I had just started to pick up golf in the mid 90s. And I worked with Dunhill and Burberry and a number of great brands. And then when Condé Nast purchased the Golf Digest companies from the New York Times, I was fortunate enough right at 2001 to become the fashion director. And in 2001, no one, almost including me, knew exactly what a fashion director in golf did. But my primary role was to help all of the images that we used on the covers and in our feature stories in Golf Digest and in our weekly Golf World look as good as they could look. So I was there to help golfers look better. And here we are today, still trying to do the very same thing.
Yeah, Marty, you're talking about the evolution of this 1927 Ryder Cup. Walter Hagen was the captain of the United States team, and Ted Ray was the captain of the Great Britain team, wearing three-piece suits, in 1927. And you see those old classic videos and pictures. The evolution from 1927 to 2025, what do you think we're going to see at this Ryder Cup in 25 from the teams?
We're going to see, a coordinated presentation. The U.S. team is, the uniforms are designed by Ralph Lauren, and he has been designing the team uniforms for the U.S. since 2014. They're going to look great. No surprise to anyone. They're going to primarily be red, white, and blue. And they're going to be very stylish. They're going to have some technical elements. So they're going to stretch and they're going to move with the players. They have everything from the suits and the apparel that players and their wives will wear at the various functions. And I'm excited to see everything. It's going to be great. The European team is dressed by a wonderful, world famous brand called Loro Piana, and they make absolutely beautiful clothes. They're going to be in the traditional European colors of a soft blue and yellow. And you're going to see a little bit more of sort of, if you will, high fashion, a little bit more European style. So they will be a little sleek. They will be very modern, and they're going to look great. And Laura Piana has been dressing the European teams since Darren Clark was the team captain. That was 2018, 2000. It was the last two or three Ryder Cups, and the European team is going to look great. And Laura Piana is also going to provide some of the other apparel that the players wear off course.
Hey, Marty, so what are the colors for the European? Is it blue and gold?
Blue
Is
and
that what they're...
yellow. You could
Blue and
say
yellow.
gold, yes.
Yeah, it's going to be pretty interesting. Marty and I were talking yesterday about uh, the PGA Championship, and we were both a little disappointed in some of the outfits that the players had on yesterday. Seems like there was a lot of black and a lot of drab.
Yeah, there was also a lot of white belts there, Frank. I have a rule about white belts. My rule is really simple. It's the rule of 36. Your age is over 36 years. If your waist is over 36 inches, unless you're helping school children cross the street, wear a white belt. All it does is call attention to your waist. Yes, you can get away with it if you have white trousers on, but notwithstanding that, the rule of 36 should be enforced.
Yeah, I like that. I'm definitely with that. Marty, I know that hey, listen, as friendly as you are and as outgoing you as are, tell us about some of the golf professionals that you're close with out there. I mean, you always have great stories about Steve Elkington as being one of your first guys that really helped you get going.
Elkington was and still is today. I saw him at the Masters. He always looks like $1 million. And he does one thing that many people do not do. He thinks about what he's going to wear before he wears it. Obviously, Dr. Jeff, you have done that today. You look like $1 million. But today, golf it has a heavy sponsorship from apparel brands with players, and they're paying players to wear their brands. And as a result, they have a bit of a voice in what they're going to wear and when they're going to wear it. And we call that scripting. And certainly for all of the major events, the Masters, the Opens, the PGAs, the manufacturers work out with the players in many cases exactly what they're going to wear every single day, starting from Monday through to Sunday. And they will even publish those to the press and media, and we will receive copies. So I can tell you right now that Victor Hovland will be in a dark shirt when he walks onto the course tomorrow. Today he's in, I believe, a beige shirt with darker trousers. He is dressed by Jay Lindeberg. So the companies have become much more involved in how the players are selecting the clothes that they're wearing. And over the years, I've really worked with most everyone that's been on the cover of Golf Digest. So we've had great fun, from Scotty Scheffler and Rory McIlroy and Tiger Woods. We've always had a good time, and the players realize that I'm there to only help them look as good as they can look.
Hey, Marty, let me ask you a question. So, would you rather deal with the members of the PGA Tour or the LPGA players?
Well, I'm happy to deal with PGA, LPGA, European Tour, whatever. If anyone's willing to listen, I'm willing to give.
Marty, a couple of things about Polo Ralph Lauren. Volunteers, the 4,300 volunteers, they're going to get a uniform. So you're going to see all these volunteers at the Ryder Cup, and they have the big horse, on the back of the shirt, very identifiable. But they're going to be a big player there with that. But the performance and recovery team that I run at the USGA, our shirts are Peter Millar, which we have performance and recovery on the shoulder, and very nice uniform that we get. Any thoughts about volunteer uniforms at these events?
No, I think it's terrific that companies like Polo Ralph Lauren, Peter Millar, any of these major brands, that they participate and support in the apparel that the staff wears. I think that's wonderful. And in some cases, they charge the volunteers a very nominal amount of money for a suitcase full of great looking merchandise.
Yeah, I think it's great. I think it's good. Jeff.
Yeah, the Ryder Cup, by the way, charged $350 to volunteer with taxes. It came in just shy of $400. But another question I had is the evolution of Tiger Woods. I know when Tiger first came on board, he wore very, very loose, baggy clothes. And now everything is the tight fitting and pleated pants. And any thoughts on Tiger's evolution of the clothes from the beginning to present day?
Yeah, you got to understand that when Tiger was first starting to play, his dad Earl was a very thrifty shopper and was very disciplined about what he bought, and he did not want Tiger to spend a lot of money on clothes because he was growing. So what Earl would do is he would give his old shirts to Tiger. Tiger would wear Earl's shirts. The only problem was Tiger was a medium or a small, and Earl was an extra large. So Tiger got very used to wearing a very roomy extra large shirt. And it took years for him to start to dress closer to the proper size. And this is an athlete who has always, his entire career up till today, he always looks in shape, and he certainly is. He had a 29.5-inch waist when we first started photographing him.
Yeah.
We're going to go to the great story there. Our sponsor of the podcast is Tunnel to Towers. You could go on their website to t2t.org. We do have a national campaign basically donating $11 a month. You certainly could donate more than that, but to help our American heroes. So let's hear from the Tunnel to Towers, and we'll be right back with Marty Hackel.
Hi, I'm Gary Player. I'm a professional golfer. I've won 165 tournaments, and I'm one of 5 golfers to achieve a Grand Slam career victory. But what means more to me than all of this is my ability to give back and do good, particularly to the United States of America. That's why I'm committed to helping Tunnel to Towers Foundation. Good to see you, Frank. Good to see you, Gary. How you doing?
You're one of the most successful golfers that ever played the game. You're an incredible human being, but you joined the Tunnel to Towers Foundation. You see the work we're doing, and you wanted to help us raise money because how much you love America.
And I'll never forget one of the days I went for you in Miami. This lady was on duty with her husband, and the police. She heard that her husband had just been killed. Now she's got 2 children. What's the first thought that comes to your mind? How am I going to support these children? How am I going to give them an education? How am I going to give them a normal life? What am I going to do with my mortgage? Tunnel to Towers is right there, across the board. I mean, what you do is fantastic.
Because you know the sacrifice that was made for our country to give us this beautiful country.
I doubt if there's anybody that loves the country more than I do. And I have said gratitude for what this country has not only done for me, but what it's done for the world.
And as a foundation, we're there to help these families after they lose their loved one and they have young families left behind. And I know you're here to join us on that.
Tunnel to Towers is working every day to support America's greatest heroes. Please donate $11 a month at t2t.org. The Tunnel to Towers Foundation. Let us do good.
Hello, everybody, again, and welcome back to the Road to the Ryder Cup. We're getting a lot of great information from, my friend Marty Hackel right here. Hey, Marty, can you tell us a little bit about any kind of disappointments that they've had through the years in whether it was colors or functioning of the clothing that they're wearing? I think there might have been a waterproofing rain gear issue somewhere in the past.
Yeah, there was a minor issue with the rain gear years ago when Corey Pavin was captaining the team, but uh, that was ultimately solved um, by the PGA of America going into the souvenir tent at the Ryder Cup and purchasing waterproof clothes. It was unfortunate that the garments that the U.S. team were wearing um, were embroidered, and that embroidery, of course, created large holes in the back of the jackets. So the jackets became more like sponges than like waterproof garments. But that was only one time. I mean, I don't think they've ever had a problem since then. And I think the rainwear that both the European team and the U.S. team uses is great and very functional and works like a charm.
Hey, Marty, I think there's been a lot of talk, and we always see the great shirt that the Americans wore when they made the big comeback up at Brookline. What do they call that? Like the picture frame shirts where they had all the pictures of past captains and wins. Did you like that shirt? I think it's
Yeah,
fantastic.
actually, I love the shirt, not so much for the shirt itself, but for the message that Captain Ben Crenshaw was trying to communicate to the team. He went to Jeff Rose, who was the maker of the shirts for the team for that particular year, and he asked Jeff to do a photo print of beautiful images from prior Ryder Cup teams. So I'm with you, Frank, and I know we're kind of in a minority here because most everyone likes to take a cheap shot at that 99 Ryder Cup shirt.
Yeah, that was certainly one of the best Ryder Cups of all time. We discussed that last week on our show, but Marty, late September, September 23rd to 28th is the Ryder Cup. Average temperatures about 70, 75 degrees, usually a great time here in the Northeast area, especially on Long Island. Give us some recommendations we could give to the 40,000 spectators, besides the spectators that are going to be face painted, bare chested with the American flags, but recommendations to the spectators coming to the Ryder Cup from an apparel
Very
standpoint.
simple. And some of these recommendations are the same recommendations that I give to Frank all the time. Number one, turn the lights on when you get dressed. Two, make sure you're looking in a mirror. Number three, dress comfortably. Dress in clothes that, you really should use the layering approach because at that time of year here in this part of the country, it can go from 75 to 55 in a heartbeat. So if you have a couple of layers, a shirt, a sweater, a light jacket, you can peel one or two of those layers off and be comfortable throughout the entire day. So I think because most people, when they go to a Ryder Cup event, spend more than 2 or 3 hours there, they need to dress anticipating that the weather might change and better to be prepared than not.
Yeah, no, great point. Hey, Marty, one part of the Ryder Cup that I really like, and I'm not certain if you had any involvement with it, is the opening ceremony, how they dress, how their wives and girlfriends dress as well. Give us a little thoughts
Well,
on that.
Ralph Lauren will be providing the outfits and this is a classic example of you can give people clothes to wear, but you have to help them wear them properly. And on occasion, the odd player has perhaps not worn the right size, or they haven't tied the necktie in an appropriate way. So sometimes they've looked pretty iffy. But I could tell you right now, both teams are going to look terrific at the opening ceremonies on Friday.
Marty does have a statement on his website, and it says, remember that it is not about what you wear, but how you wear it makes the statement. And I love that statement for sure. But Marty, the two most technical, now we're going to get into technology coming from the Body Swing Connection, but the two most advanced sports with training is golfers with TrackMan and Body Track and K-Vest and training. And the second one is Formula One car racing. Very, very advanced. So they have all kinds of devices on their body that could monitor, different things while they're in the car. They could monitor the car from the pit stops. I know that you work, I believe, with some Formula One teams. Is that accurate?
Yes, well, it's accurate that I worked for BBC and CBS at a number of Formula One events in the mid '80s. However, I must caution that there's a huge difference between the apparel that automobile racers, Formula One drivers, NASCAR drivers, they all wear Nomex apparel, which is fireproof. It's 3 layers, and for safety, that's been mandated. It even goes down now to the socks and the underwear, and the the regulating body for the Formula One racers are very strict about the players and the drivers and what they're allowed to wear. PGA, with golf, we have a lot more flexibility.
Well, Marty, I've seen you go out and hit golf balls, and you've been on fire lately. So you better get yourself some fire retardant gear as well.
That would be a problem I want to have full time, Frank.
Another thing, Marty, I wanted to ask you, on social media, you see these high-end athletes, they don't think twice of buying a watch that's 7 figures or more. Any thoughts, any economical watches people could wear that has a good presence to it at all? Any thoughts on that?
Sure. I mean, watches are one of the items of apparel that pro golfers have a great deal of fun personalizing and buying wonderful brands, and brands like Rolex in particular have been very involved from a sponsorship standpoint for years and years with golf. So hats off to Rolex, and there are companies like Omega and Audemars Piguet and Hublot. I think regular golfers can wear the Apple Watch. Has a lot of apps that work great for golf. Tag Heuer makes a connected watch that's fabulous. Tommy Fleetwood wears it, and you can get the yardages and a ton of information from the Tag Heuer connected watch. So there are a number of devices that you can wear that will help give you more information, but they don't make the swing for you.
Hey, Marty, I've got one more question before I let you go here. Keegan Bradley's had a couple of busy weeks. He had his Ryder Cup hopeful dinner last week at the Truist at Philadelphia Cricket Club. And if I'm not mistaken, I did see a sign for Ryder Cup fittings this week. What's that Ryder Cup fittings scenario all about?
The team at Ralph Lauren will have some tailors at the event. They'll probably take the top 20, 25 players right now from the U.S., measure all of them so that when it comes time for the Ryder Cup, they have the appropriate sizes. I mean, I think it's one of the great innovations, and Polo Ralph Lauren's been fantastic about doing that.
Yeah, great story there. Marty, the Talented Towers is our sponsor of the podcast. So for your efforts being a guest on the Road to the Ryder Cup podcast, we're going to send you these beautiful leather wrapped Scotch glasses. We'll get your address and put that in the mail for sure. I had one or two other questions before we do let you go. I know we were in LA for the Los Angeles Country Club there for the Open that Wyndham Clark won, and I believe you invited me to a party. I think it was a rooftop party, I believe, somewhere in LA. And I think, was that Dustin Johnson's party, or
It
was he
was
the
Dustin Johnson's a party at Extracurricular was the clothing brand in LA Golf. Those are two of his sponsors, and they did a rooftop party that was great fun.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. It was great seeing you there. And you're like the mayor at that party. Everybody was saying hello to you and talking to you. You have such a reputation in golf, which is amazing. Just a great job you've been doing over the years.
Well, Jeff, don't go to the PGA merchandise show with you because he's like a snail walking around. I try to stay with him. I last about 6 minutes because he gets like, and it almost looks like, kind of reminded me last week when the Pope came out. That's what Marty's like. They were bowing and running to get to kiss Marty's ring. Isn't that right, Marty?
I've been doing it for so long, Frank, and I think it's great fun doing the PGA show or whatever. I love to be able to share my experience with people.
Yeah. Well, last question, and my question is basically the merchandise pavilion merch. They're calling it actually Ryder Cup shops. They're going to have this massive multiple shops at the front entrance of the Ryder Cup. Any thoughts on that? Because we heard that 30 years ago, a little merchandise tent was under a tent, open on all four sides, and people would buy a couple of shirts. Now these things have turned into millions and millions of dollars worth of sales. Any thoughts on that?
Replicas have become really, really important, and all of the replicas that people can now get access to, I think that's terrific, and I think that's a wonderful way of people supporting the teams, whether it's the European team or the U.S. team. Now, the primary manufacturers of clothes, they will have replicas there in the tent, and the PGA of America and the European Tour will give the license to use the Ryder Cup logos to a number of other companies that will put merchandise in that tent. So there's a huge assortment available for men, for women, for kids, for home. It's not just clothes you wear. I think it's everyone should be going to the merchandise tent, or however you're going to call it, whatever you're going to name it.
Hey, I've got one more question for Marty, and I think you've made a couple of comments on this, and we haven't heard much about this, but there was a little movement about players being able to wear shorts when they're playing in the event. Now, they do let them do it in the practice rounds. I don't like it. I think they look so sharp when they're dressed in slacks, with great shirts and looking good. What's your thoughts on that?
Well, I think the Ryder Cup's kind of a formal event, and I think unless the temperature gets really unreasonable above 85, I think the players even during their practice rounds should be wearing long pants and should look dressed up if the weather's such that they could perform better with shorts on. Then let them wear shorts. No big deal.
You can listen to the podcast, The Road to the Ryder Cup, on social media, on Facebook, X, LinkedIn, YouTube, Spotify. Please like, share, comment, subscribe, and also follow. Don't forget our sponsor, Tunnel to Towers. You can get on their website, t2t.org. Again, we have that campaign, $11 a month, to help our American heroes.
Jeff, it is interesting that we're on so many different things. So many people are watching us. Now they all know that I get dressed in the dark and I don't have a mirror.
So, Marty, last thing I'm going to ask you, if I was going to change this outfit, maybe wear this tomorrow, what would I change? I still want
Just change the necktie. You'd look like, well, you might want to change the undergarments too, Doc. Change the necktie.
Maybe like a little red or something. A
Yeah,
little.
yeah. I mean, just have some fun and make it significantly different than the necktie you're wearing, the beautiful necktie that you're wearing today.
Jeff, Jeff, where's the Ryder Cup ties? Are they out yet?
Yeah, they are. I think they are at the Bethpage Pro Shop, and maybe Marty, you could come down one time and we could just walk around the pro shop there and look at all the items there, and maybe have another show with your thoughts about that.
Let's
would be
go
great.
shopping with Mr. Style. I love it. Let's do it.
Yeah, I like that a lot. Hey, Marty, listen, I love talking with you. I love having you on my Connecticut flagstick radio show as well. And thanks so much for taking some time and giving us such great information about clothing, fashion, and the Ryder
Well,
Cup.
it's
Thanks,
been a
Marty.
pleasure to be with both of you.
Have a good day, my friend.
Take care.
All the best, everyone. Remember, tunnel to towers.